Watan is a non-profit organization, a humanitarian organization, non-political. It's a 501c3. Our target is to help our Palestinian people everywhere without their political agenda. We started it in 2020, and then we were inactive until actually the genocide started in Gaza. We are the only organization that has no management fees. So we had our banquet, and we flew to Egypt. The board flew to Egypt on our own expense.
At a time when global awareness about the Palestinian struggle is growing, and when more Americans, including Jewish and non-Jewish voices alike, are standing up against Israeli ongoing crimes, our guest has been at the forefront of this rising movement of conscience. Today, we are very much honored to host Palestinian American activist and head of the board of Watan organization, Khalid Al-Qaddoumi, who never stopped supporting the Palestinian people in Gaza, the West Bank, every part of the occupied Palestinian territory. Most welcome to the program, Mr.
Thank
Khalid.
you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
My first question, how do you feel being here with your people, being in Palestine, maybe for the first time, as I understood from you, in Ramallah?
You cannot describe the feeling. It's a great feeling. It's a feeling of self-belonging. You belong somewhere. This is my homeland. This is my country, and I love it being here.
Very nice. We see how the Palestinian American community is very active these days, and their contribution to the American protest against the Israeli genocide in Gaza, the Israeli occupation in general. If you tell us about this awakening among the Palestinian community and its impact on the American society.
The impact on the American politics took time. It's been going on for tens of years. It accelerated in the last few years, helped by the social media, by the atrocities that happened committed by the Israelis. There's a great shift of opinion in the U.S. towards the Palestinian cause. If you go back in history, in the 1940s, 50s, when the first Palestinians immigrated to the US, they were economic immigrants. They were looking for jobs.
Yes.
As you go in time, now in the 80s, like me, we went to the United States looking for education. Now our generation, when they graduated from colleges, we either became big business people or we became highly academics.
Like Edward Said.
And a lot of Farouk al-Shami, a lot of business people. So the people that went in the 80s and 90s in the US are different from the people that went in the 40s and the 50s because they melted in the American societies. Now the generation that was born from us, like my kids, my generation kids, they were American born, American educated, and they were highly motivated to work for the Palestinian people. And that's where the change came from, supported by their parents who are already educated. So you have an educated generation that came from an educated generation, the third generation, that's actually very motivated to help our cause advance. That's how they organize the protests. That's how they debate the politicians. That's how they actually talk to the presidents, the vice president, the senators, the Congress people with courage. So, because they're Americans, they're 100% Americans.
Yeah. And when we talk about that, Mr. Khalid, are we talking about a well-structured work? Are we talking about organized movement? Or it is based on individual initiatives?
Mostly on individual initiatives in the colleges and in the communities. On the individual levels, we do a lot of work. A lot of people are doing a lot of work. On the collective efforts, we lack the collective efforts. There are so many organizations that like to work by themselves. But for example, the universities, each university work by itself. There is some contacts and there is some connections, but it's mostly on individual levels, and that's the problem. Not organized enough.
Mm-hmm. You have been in the United States since the 80s, and hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are there. Why until now we don't have organized movement that would affect the American policies and the American administration, mainly foreign policy, when it comes to Palestine, Israel?
Because there are a lot of interferences by others. The students, for example, in colleges, they see themselves as the leading group towards the activism in the US, where other groups see it in a different way. So to organize the whole groups, all of the groups together, is not easy. We actually lack leadership. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about leadership in the US.
Yes.
Now, it is the responsibility, and I applaud what the president is doing and what the Palestinian leadership in the US, in Palestine, is doing. But we need guidance from the leadership here to actually organize our work in the US to advance what we are doing. But are we doing something good? We are.
Yes,
let's say
especially we saw how the students' movement in the university campuses calling on the American administration to press Israel to stop its genocide. It was amazing.
It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. We lived it. About 72% of the American people now support the self-determination for the Palestinians, or the two-state solution. The rights of existence, the rights of peace.
Yes, and
tranquility.
Is it due to the activism and the contribution by the Palestinians there, or people from different ethnicities, not only Palestinians, who contribute to that and who make this change in the American public opinion? I mean, is there coordination among the different movements there?
If you go to the white Americans, let me say that, and I hate to say that expression, the Americans themselves are in the front for our cause.
Yes.
Yani when you, the white Americans, the black Americans, the indigenous people, the Spanish, mm-hmm. The whole community of Americans and people who live in the US, even they are not US citizens, they are all in the cause. It's a melting pot for our cause. Everybody helped.
And when you noticed this started, is it during the Israeli genocide war on Gaza, or we are talking about such acts even long before the Israeli war on Gaza?
It was building slowly.
Yes.
And it took off after the genocide. Mm-hmm. When people saw what happened in Gaza and what happened in the West Bank, it changed a lot of their minds. A lot of Jewish people. I have a lot of Jewish friends that when they see me and they talk to me, they express their sorrow for what's going on with our people. And our people in the US, we're calling for peace. Everybody wants peace.
Yes. Mr. Khaled, you told me before we got to the studio that you have this friendship, personal relationships with senior American officials, and you invited Hillary Clinton to your house.
Yes.
When you sit with them and talk about the Palestinian people rights and what's happening here, how is their perception? Is it the same as when they speak before the cameras, to the media, to the public, or when they are,
in private?
In private is different.
Look, Americans, whether a president or a senator or a congressman, after all, they're humans. So because they're running for elections, they cannot express what they really feel. And I'm going to give you an example. If a senator or a congressman runs for elections, AIPAC interferes. They get him votes, they get him financial support.
Yes.
That will help him or help her succeed in the elections. What we lack as a community there is to actually go that route. We need to support politicians in order to be congresspeople or senators or even a president. We supported a lot of candidates. I myself was one of the organizers for Hillary Clinton fundraising in Connecticut. I myself was one of the supporters of Chris Murphy, Senator Chris Murphy, the governor, the mayor. I'm part of the Democratic Party. So what I like to encourage our people to do is involve in the political system, in the American political system. If we involve in the American political system, we become part of it. If you become part of it, then you become part of the solution. If we are going to step aside and say, okay, AIPAC controls everything, or we can't do anything, that's very wrong.
Do you think that we are on the right track now? Is it possible that one day the Palestinian community there is going to compete the AIPAC?
AIPAC has a long history, and I have to be realistic. And they are ahead of us, way ahead of us. But are we moving in the right direction? Yes, we are.
But you're talking about 77% of the people supporting the rights of the Palestinian people.
I agree.
You should build on that.
I agree. We are building on this. Now, I was answering your question about if we are comparable with AIPAC. No, we're not with AIPAC. AIPAC is very, very powerful. But are we moving into the right direction for our cause? Yes. On the personal level, on the individual level, and on the community's level. But are we organized as AIPAC? No. No, definitely. We are way behind them.
Yes. Supporting the people of Palestine takes different patterns and different forms, and you are the head of the board of Watan organization. If you tell us more about this organization, your activities, what kind of support you provide for the Palestinians?
Okay, I started Watan doing business as it's a DBA as we will return. Watan is a non-profit organization, a humanitarian organization, non-political. It's a 501c3. Our target is to help our Palestinian people everywhere without their political agenda. We started it in 2020, and then we were inactive until actually the genocide started in Gaza. We are the only organization that has no management fees. So we had our banquet, and we flew to Egypt. The board flew to Egypt on our own expense, whether tickets or hotels or pocket expenses.
Voluntary act.
Volunteer. And we made sure that we treated a lot of Gazans. We did their prosthetics. We helped buy their medicine, especially for the cancer. We helped pay their rents, pocket expenses. And we are doing the same thing in Gaza camp in Jordan. And hopefully it will, now we're active in Jordan too. We're doing this as we speak. And we are expanding our humanitarian efforts for the Palestinians everywhere. Now, if we are to see somebody who's in need, it doesn't have to be a Palestinian, we will do it. Because after all, we are all humans.
Sure.
Yani if I see a Jewish person in need, I would do it from our being humans. Because what our organization's targets are is to spread the human values.
Here, it's good that you mentioned this point and your readiness to help Jewish people, which shows that the Palestinian people are not against the Jewish people. They are against the Zionist occupation of their land. If you tell us about the shift in the attitudes of the Jewish people in the United States towards the Palestinian cause, as more than 45% of them call for the rights of the Palestinians and call what Israel committed in Gaza genocide. Tell us about the change within the Jewish community in the United States?
Look, I do a lot of business in the U.S. with Jewish people, and I don't know if I'm using the right expression to say Jewish people.
Yeah.
Jewish people, saying Jewish people like you say in Palestinian people, we are all humans and people after all. A lot of them are my partners in business. There's a huge difference between being a Jew or being Zionist.
Yes.
Being Jewish is a good religion. You have to respect Judaism and respect the Jewish belief, just like they respect our Muslim belief. And me, on the personal level, I always believe that we can coexist. And that led, the shift in the opinion in the US led a lot of Jewish people to shift their opinion on a Palestinian state, on the rights of the Palestinians to have their own state. And my argument with them is, imagine how advanced the Israelis are in technology, in agriculture, and how smart are the Palestinians. You do not underestimate the Palestinians.
Without any
The
doubt.
Palestinians are highly educated, they're highly motivated, they have strong roots in Palestine. So imagine if we have a peace solution that will integrate both of us and share the land. Imagine the future
Yeah. Yeah.
between the Israeli technology in all aspects and between the Palestinian minds and the Palestinian intelligence and the heritage we have.
Yeah.
Imagine if we can coexist,
Yeah.
what could happen? Imagine if Israel doesn't have a war now.
Of course, the whole region is going to be different, but
Definitely.
it's regrettable that mainly the current Israeli government does not believe in peace anyway. Mr. Khalid, we see the American President Donald Trump. He came to the region and he signed the ceasefire deal, Trump plan. Today we have the American State Secretary in Israel, the American Vice President, and all the American diplomatic team is in the region in order to make sure that Israel would respect the ceasefire deal. Do you think that this change is due to the activism by the Americans who are against the war?
Definitely.
Or it's a political issue?
It became a national interest for the US to have a peace in the Middle East. It's in their interest to have peace in the Middle East for their own interest. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. You have something called in English wishful thinking. You wish that's going to happen. We all wish this is going to happen, but at least we have a ceasefire so our people in Gaza can eat, can rebuild. And we hope that this thing will extend to the West Bank. And the recognition of Palestine in the United Nations by 162 countries, I think, or 160 countries, is a big step towards the right direction. And I think the US is very, very close to recognize Palestine as a state. I think Trump is, although I did not vote for him myself, Trump, if he actually keeps his words, he might be the closest president to really help achieve peace in the in Palestine between us and the Israelis and have two-state solution and full recognition of a Palestinian state. But I think they have their own conditions, and I think their conditions were given to the leadership here in Palestine, and I think the leadership is working on it.
Yes.
And if they are, we have some issues that we have to address.
Yeah.
And I'm very disturbed that when I came here in Palestine, that I found that a lot of employees are not actually getting paid.
Yeah.
The economic condition of our people in Palestine is harsh.
Yes.
The Palestinian community in the US and in the West, in Europe or in the Gulf, they alone can help our people in Palestine. That's why I always say we need collective measures to integrate. Yeah, one of my ideas from my organization, and maybe I overstepped, is to connect the Palestinian families at home with the Palestinian families abroad. So the help can go directly to the families, whether somebody needs education or whether somebody needs medical treatment. But I know that all of this will need peace.
Yeah, without any doubt. Yes,
Without it,
yes.
nothing's going to happen.
But that is, it would be a creative initiative, really. And do you think that the American community, the Palestinian community in the United States, have the ground for implementing such initiative?
Yes. I think if they see real concrete steps in Palestine and they see actual situations, our people will donate. See, our people are used to give.
Yes.
Palestinians are used to give. They like to give. They like to donate. But they're not sure whom to donate to.
Yeah.
So if you supply them with the channels, with the proper channels to do this, I personally know about maybe 2,000 millionaires in the US. Palestinian millionaires.
A good number.
A Palestinian millionaire in the US can at least help one family.
Yeah. Well,
So here goes 2,000 families.
you're right.
And I'm talking about the personal level. Imagine how many Palestinian millionaires. I have never met a Palestinian in the US that's not a businessman or highly academic.
Yeah.
Palestinians are very, very innovative. They're very, very ambitious.
Yeah. And before you started your journey to Palestine, you must have met with the friends and with the people there. Do you have any message from the Palestinians in the United States to their people, to their land here?
Yes. You're staying in Palestine and you're steadfasting in Palestine, and your hardship in Palestine is a blessing to us. We support you 100%, and you are in the front of our case, our situation. We applaud you and we love you, and we will do whatever we can to support you in order at the end to achieve peace between us and the Israelis, and all of us can live in peace and tranquility. And we are behind you. We will support you and we will love you. We love you.
Yeah. And my final question to you, Mr. Khalid, after you leave Palestine, you must have watched the situation on the ground in terms of the occupation attacks, the gates, the checkpoints, a very dire situation in the occupied Palestinian territories. So what is the message that you are going to take from here to the United States?
The message has different directions. One is to the politicians, one is to the Palestinian people, and one is to my Jewish friends.
Yes.
That we need to do things better. We need to ease the pain of our people and suffering. We need to work on the peace process. We need to work with moderate governments, Israeli governments, that actually wants peace. Unfortunately, the current government is not working for peace.
Yes.
And the message to the American politicians is that we need your financial support, and we need our tax money that is held by the Israelis. We need the American assistance to continue to the Palestinian leadership. And one of the discussions I had with the senator, how do you expect the Palestinian leadership in Palestine to enforce itself on the ground and to control the West Bank and Gaza Strip when you don't actually give them the funds and the financial supports to do it? So in order for that leadership and for the government to stay and to achieve peace and control the whole land, so we can enforce peace between us and the Israelis, that leadership, that government needs financial support. I've been to different places, and whenever I talk to somebody that works for the Palestinian government, they say they don't get paid.
Yeah, because Israel withholds the Palestinian tax revenues.
The money is held. The financial support from the US is cut. The financial support from the other Arab countries is cut. What do we do? So that pushes people to go to the other direction. What you want is to bring everybody to the peace table, provide them with financial support. If you have kids, I've seen it. I'm walking in the streets and I've seen it myself.
Yeah.
We need the international financial support, politically and financially, to achieve our goals in Palestine.
And we hope that the national goals would be achieved. Mr. Khalid Al-Kaddoum, it has been a great pleasure having you on our program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. And from you, Sama Nazal, have a nice time.